Spite is a dish best served with a boarding pass and a glass of vintage champagne. I learned that lesson the hard way, marinated in years of discount groceries and hand-me-down clothes. When I was 13, the woman who biologically incubated me, let's call her Verna, though mother is a stretch, decided to take the entire family on a Mexican cruise. The catch. The guest list included her 6 other children, the ones sired by men with actual bank accounts. My younger sister Coralie and I, the unfortunate byproducts of a genuinely broke father, were the only ones left behind. Verna smiled with that thin predatory line she called a mouth and told me it was an adult's trip. The kicker, they sailed away the exact week of my 13th birthday. I spent that week eating generic brand macaroni and staring at the peeling wallpaper of our cramped living room, quietly making a promise to myself. I didn't just want to escape, I wanted to eclipse her. Fast forward 9 years, the peeling wallpaper is a distant nightmare. At 22, I've managed to turn the very thing Verna tried to shame me for into a lucrative empire. When I came out and subsequently realized I could monetize my absolute lack of shame and decent lighting on a certain subscription platform, Verna practically tripped over herself rushing to disown me. The golden brood followed suit, cutting ties with the degenerate of the family. The irony, their collective rejection was the ultimate catalyst. Without their constant, suffocating judgment, my income skyrocketed. I stopped surviving and started investing. Real estate, index funds, and a very aggressive savings plan turned my digital hustle into quiet, undeniable wealth. But not everyone turned their backs. Coralie stayed. My grandmother Eudora, who always saw right through Verna's materialistic facade, stayed. My Aunt Linnea and her son Balthazar, the chillest cousin on the planet, stayed. They were the ones who checked on me, who didn't care about the source of my income as long as I was safe and happy. And as my bank account ballooned to numbers that felt entirely fictional, a brilliant, venomous idea began to take root. It started on a random Tuesday. I was scrolling through social media, watching the rain streak down the floor-to-ceiling windows of my high-rise condo. Verna's birthday was approaching. A milestone year, one she had been loudly complaining about to anyone who would listen, lamenting that she had never made it to Europe. She always thought she belonged in Paris sipping espresso, instead of arguing with mechanics in a strip mall parking lot. I picked up my phone and dialed Coralie. When she answered, I didn't say hello, I just said, "Pack a bag, a big one." "Vance, it is a Tuesday afternoon. I have a shift at the clinic in 2 hours, Coralie sighed, the exhaustion clear in her voice. "Quit," I replied, tracing a bead of condensation on my glass of sparkling water. "I'm serious. We are going on a trip, and we are taking Eudora, Linnea, and Balthazar. Get your passports ready." 2 weeks later, the 5 of us were sitting in the exclusive, ambient-lit cavern of the first-class international lounge at the airport. Eudora was sipping a mimosa, her silver hair perfectly coiffed, looking entirely unbothered by the fact that it was barely 8 in the morning. Linnea and Balthazar were browsing the complimentary buffet with eyes wide as saucers. Coralie sat across from me, sinking into the plush leather of the armchair, still waiting for the punchline. "You haven't even told us the itinerary," Coralie murmured, leaning forward. "Vance, this is insane, the tickets alone." "Don't worry about the tickets," I interrupted, handing her a sleek leather-bound folder. "Consider this a long-overdue birthday present for both of us." Coralie opened the folder. Inside were the boarding passes and a meticulously printed itinerary. London, Paris, Berlin, Stockholm, Copenhagen, and finally Capri. Her jaw dropped. Eudora chuckled, setting her flute down with a delicate clink. "You do realize," Eudora said, her eyes glinting with a wicked, knowing light, "that we will be in Capri on the exact weekend of Verna's birthday." "Is that so?" I feigned ignorance, adjusting the cuffs of my silk shirt. "What a complete and utter coincidence. I suppose we'll just have to post a lot of pictures so she doesn't feel left out." The flight to London was a masterclass in luxury. No cramped knees, no stale recycled air. Just lie-flat pods, warm nuts, and attendants who addressed us by our last names. I watched Coralie fall asleep halfway over the Atlantic, wrapped in a designer duvet, and felt a profound, heavy warmth in my chest. This wasn't just spite, it was reclamation. London was a blur of afternoon tea at the Ritz and heavy shopping bags on Bond Street. I made sure to buy Eudora a cashmere coat that cost more than Verna's first car. Paris was even better. We dined in Montmartre, the Eiffel Tower sparkling in the distance like a massive, gloating middle finger to our past. At every stop, I curated my social media presence with ruthless precision. I knew Verna had burner accounts. I knew she watched my stories, hate scrolling through my life. So I gave her a show. I posted videos of Balthazar struggling to pronounce French pastries, Linnea tearing up at the Louvre, and Coralie looking like absolute royalty on a private boat down the Seine. I made sure the geotags were prominent. I made sure the smiles were genuine. By the time we hit Berlin, the exhaustion of luxury was setting in, but the kind of exhaustion you welcome. We walked through the brutalist architecture, eating street food that tasted better than any Michelin-starred meal because we were eating it together, unburdened by the toxic weight of the rest of the family. Stockholm and Copenhagen were brisk, clean, and breathtaking. In Stockholm, Coralie and I stood by the water, the icy wind biting our cheeks. She tried to call me yesterday, Coralie said quietly, not looking away from the dark, rippling harbor. Verna, I asked, pulling my scarf tighter. Yeah, left a voicemail. She sounded frantic, asked why Grandma wasn't answering her texts, complained that her birthday is coming up and nobody is planning anything. Coralie finally turned to me, a small, sad smile on her face. You broke her, Vance. I didn't break anything, I replied softly. I just built something better without her. The grand finale awaited us in Capri. The Italian sun was a heavy, golden blanket over the island. The Mediterranean Sea was a shade of blue so vivid it looked artificially colored. We chartered a yacht, not a small boat, a multi-deck yacht with a crew that handed us chilled towels the second we stepped aboard. It was the Friday of Verna's birthday weekend. We anchored off the coast, the jagged cliffs of Capri looming in the background. The crew brought out platters of fresh seafood, bruschetta, and bottles of wine that tasted like liquid sunlight. Eudora was lounging on the sun deck, looking like a retired movie star. Linnea and Balthazar were jumping off the stern into the crystal-clear water, their laughter echoing against the rocks. I sat next to Coralie on the plush white cushions of the bow, my phone in hand. It was time. I gathered everyone for a group photo. The five of us tanned, radiant, and dripping in an effortless kind of wealth that Verna had chased her entire life but never caught. I snapped the picture, I opened Instagram, I selected the photo, added no filters, it didn't need any, and typed out the caption. Surrounding yourself with the people who actually raised you, supported you, and loved you when you had nothing. That's the real luxury. Happy weekend from Capri. I didn't tag her, I didn't say her name, I didn't have to. The omission was louder than any insult. I hit share. Less than 20 minutes later, my phone buzzed on the teak table. The screen lit up, incoming call, Verna. Coralie looked at the phone, then up at me. The splashing from the stern stopped. Even Eudora paused, lowering her sunglasses to peer at the glowing screen. The device vibrated, spinning slowly on the smooth wood, demanding attention, demanding a reaction. The woman who had left a 13-year-old boy behind to eat stale cereal while she drank margaritas was now sitting in whatever dismal living room she occupied, staring at the reality of what she had thrown away. I reached out, I didn't decline the call. That would mean I cared enough to press the button. I simply flipped the phone face down, silencing the buzz, and picked up my glass of wine. To family, I said, raising the glass toward the endless, shimmering horizon. To family, Coralie echoed, her glass clinking against mine. The sweetest revenge isn't screaming matches or petty arguments. It's outgrowing the people who tried to keep you small. It's taking the pain they handed you and using it as fuel to build a life so incredibly vast, they can't even see the top of it from where they're standing. You don't owe loyalty to anyone who only treats you like family when it's convenient for them. Blood might be an accident of birth, but family is a conscious choice. If you're dealing with people who drain your spirit, cut the dead weight. Focus on your grind, elevate your life, and take care of the ones who stood by you in the dark. If this story resonated with you, hit that subscribe button, leave a like, and let me know in the comments below. What's the most satisfying way you've ever proved a toxic person wrong? Until next time, keep building your empire.